Warpugs, we're here. SCP-001 When Day Breaks. The End, Part 1. I feel so strange about seeing the title of this video. I feel very awkward about the title of this video. And the reason being is this series has been so massively important to me. I have enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed it so much I basically bought that back there. It was something that I looked at, I saw the artwork, I was like, this should be on a wall, and I found out it could be. Special thanks to my Patreons for that. This is before I had memberships. Patreons got me that. I really massively appreciate Patreons. I really do. But this whole series, from start to finish, has been utterly fantastic. It has been amazing. Him, like Mr. Illustrated and Simmerman, did an amazing job of this series. And all the other writers, voice actors, everything. It has been flat out outstanding. Guys, we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna have a look. And I'm gonna be sad because I know it's coming to a close. But it's not always, the journey that you end, it's the journey that you begin. Let's get into this, Warpugs. All of Mr. Illustrated's links are going to be in the description down below. Please check him out because, to be honest with you, this is amazing. And he deserves a look. Let's go.
It was a curious thing at first. At the very earliest part of the universe, the light was so ever-present and so bright that it might as well not have existed. If you had eyes capable of surviving in the millions of degrees heat, and tough enough to not get torn into plasma by the energies present, you'd be just as blind as if there was no light at all. Worse maybe, since you couldn't touch anything or smell anything or hear anything either. At the start, light was darkness, and darkness was light. And then time passed, and the light got fainter. There was contrast, and with contrast you could finally make out what stirred in the early universe. Terrible and impressive beings moved among the early stars and left their impressions. Some hunted others, and some died. But a godlike being doesn't die like we do. They remain as embers, angry, bestial, corrupting everything they touch. It was a neat trick when the prey became the greatest threat to the early universe, when the hunters had to adapt, become smarter, become crueler and kinder at the same time. When a piece of some prey fell into a star and began to change it, they'd have to destroy the star. There was no other choice at the time. And so it continued on and on. Billions of years passed, the universe cooled still further, and as the space between the stars became more and more stretched, the hunters built great vessels to seek out and correct the corruption brought on by the early universe's dead. Various cultures would name these dots of light as they tracked across their skies: Mother, Liberator, Destroyer. The corruptive influence of a dead god was multiplicative, and somehow it never was able to be stamped out. Not fully. The light of a star thus corrupted would shine out into the void and find other life, other stars, for the stars are alive as well.
Dude, are they bringing up what
So the
are
great
they
early
bringing
hunters
up?
built even more great vessels and sent them out into the cosmos. The hunters moved on from this universe long ago. Their great machines are the only evidence left that they once walked in darkened places. But their great hunter vessels had their own intelligences. They knew where to go and why. This one knew that a shard of some broken dead thing was travelling at the speed of light towards a little star on the outskirts of a mostly barren galaxy.
Dude.
This
The malfunctioning destroyer. I can't remember the number. And I hate myself. I knew what he was...
corrupted fragment was attracted to life, it seemed. Its source had long since been neutralized, a great supernova many eons ago, directed by the intelligences the hunters had left behind. But this would be more complex. Life existed here, sacred even to the hunters. So this one was their most complex vessel yet, their most advanced. It would inoculate the star before the light arrived to corrupt it. Anything else would be a grand crime against life itself. But the vessel developed a fault as it entered the star's system. Its guidance was damaged and it struck the moon of the system's largest planet. There was no life here. but there were a lot of problems to overcome. Time was short. It had begun to repair. Its primary purpose was to prevent corruption of life at Planet 3 at all cost.
This was one of my favorite SCPs that I saw in the very early time. Like it took a long time. It took a long time for me to find other SCPs that I enjoyed as much as this one, because this one truly, I thought was just we did just no idea what this thing's actually here to do. And I love the fact they're using this storyline to give it a purpose that is not as vindictive and not as, awful. I love this.
But the world it meant to protect was already corrupted. Anomalies existed there, breaks in reality, infinities that should never be, magic spells and broken gods abounded on this small world. So to fight the corruption, an organization had formed, nascent, still feeling out the universe. It saw the destroyer coming and gave it a name, SCP-2399. And in their fear, they doomed themselves and perhaps the universe. In secret, undocumented, and unnoticed, they sent forces to confuse the Great Machine. They built stations to monitor the destroyer, to stymie its efforts to repair itself. Ever fearful that the destroyer would rise out of the Jovian atmosphere and bathe the Earth in flame. They engaged its repair drones. They stole away critical parts. They tried to scramble its equipment. No one knew enough about the dead gods to find the irony in the situation. Time grew shorter and shorter until it was too late. The sun finally broke and the Earth became corrupted too. The monitoring stations were just able to survive on the outskirts of the solar system, but their time was growing shorter and shorter.
God, I love
Repair
this.
drones from the destroyer made contact with the survivors, and those survivors considered how absolutely desperate they'd have to be to trust this massive, dangerous entity. But they trusted it anyway, helped to repair it, helped to raise it from the Jovian atmosphere, helped to send it onward to the sun. And the destroyer had thanked them in the only way it could, with a small vessel filled with technology so arcane it might as well be magic. And it sent the survivors on their way. Then it dived headfirst into the sun, secure in the knowledge that it would either succeed or fail in spectacular fashion. That was 3 weeks ago. Today, the sun is unchanged, and the destroyer has begun a job it may not be powerful enough to finish. Something terrible is happening at the heart of the sun, something unheard of and unseen before in the history of the universe, and time is running out.
Ships are safe in the harbour, but that's not what ships are built for.
Very true.
They thought it was a small lifeboat when they first entered it. Dr. Brett Linesman, Philip O'Brien and Malcolm Carrick had started a quest to save as many humans stuck in dying orbital stations as they could across the entire solar system. As they took on more and more passengers, it became readily apparent that this life pod was infinitely more complex than Linesman had first assumed. 167. That's the total number of Foundation staff housed aboard a capsule the size of a school bus.
That's a lot.
The math wasn't mathing, the space wasn't spacing, and to some degree, the time wasn't timing. They'd been whisked away to the Sun, Mars, Jupiter again, and Saturn, and back to Luna in the past 3 weeks.
That's fast.
Not every orbital habitat and station was full of survivors. Many
That is actually pretty stupidly fast.
housed fully corrupted flesh monsters calling out with distress signals. The capsule was capable of detecting and destroying any flesh monster that tried to cross into it. They'd learned that the hard way. More important than all the seemingly endless space inside it was the capsule's ability to provide food and water for those housed within it. The technology on this thing was so far advanced that it seemed like magic. All you had to do was wish for something and it would appear.
Lovely.
So with all of the abundance and safety, it was time for humanity to rear its ugly head.
Yay.
The 98th survivor they'd picked up was 0510, and given that almost every base out there was a Foundation one, it had seemed reasonable to put him in charge.
Great.
Dr. Lipton, however, was not anyone's favourite person. Almost 3 days ago, he'd shown them why it was perhaps a bad idea to put him in charge at all. While most space assets in the solar system were Foundation, there were a handful of others as well. The GOC's lunar base had been the sticking point that day. Dr. Lipton had needed convincing to even visit them once the distress calls started coming in clearly. All Foundation sites on the moon were overrun. Too many humans on that rock to convert had meant that a slow cascading wave of flesh monsters eventually washed across its surface. But the GOC's lunar base had held firm for quite a long time now, though by the time they'd arrived it seemed on the edge of ruin.
Oh, come
This
on.
is Luna 1. I repeat, this is Luna 1. We're seeing them on the horizon now. It was 1 or 2 at first, then 10. Now it's so many I cannot count them all. They've tried our defenses, and so far have failed to make any inroads. The energy turrets are doing a great job of destroying them, but our solar power has been slowly blocked, and the batteries are beginning to diminish. We're going to be out of power soon. We're desperate. They know it, we know it, everyone knows it now. If this message reaches you, we're probably already dead. Just know that we were here, that we tried, and we lived, and died, and I don't know. Tell them we said something cool on the way out.
Excellent last words, my guy.
Dr. Lipton reviewed that message. The rest of the command crew, including linesmen O'Brien and Carrick, who were the only people the pod actually obeyed the orders of, sighed in relief when he gave permission to visit Luna 1. If they'd known what was coming, they probably would have felt elsewise. They arrived over the base, hovering, looming like a gravestone. And that was all they were. It wasn't that the base was already overrun, far from it. The base was actually still defending itself fairly well.
Okay.
But that was all. Over the next day and a half, everyone begged Lipton to intervene. He dithered, he hedged, and Luna 1 died screaming.
That's dumb.
Dr. Lipton was removed from command for gross negligence the next day. Linesman O'Brien and Carrick knew the truth. This ship was meant to be a savior,
Right.
gifted by an advanced race and entity capable of reshaping reality itself, and whose purpose was to allow what remained of humanity to survive long enough for the sun to be fixed.
I can't actually believe it. I can't actually believe that they would actually do that. Some of the members of the O5 Council are absolute dicks, okay? Just absolute, utter, unrepentant dicks. And yeah, why not let people die? Yeah, there's so many of you left.
Dr. Sumerian, Site 88 Ethics Committee Liaison.
Oh, lovely.
Anomalies should never be allowed to collaborate. An anomaly is a break in reality. Science as we know it is generally meaningless in the face of the anomaly. Anomalies represent infinities, infinite power, infinite life, infinite pizza. You don't cross infinities. That's how you get to the end of the universe.
Yay.
Though, I suppose at the end of the world, anything goes.
Yes.
Lainey and Sig got along well, which was weird. Good, but weird. Lainey's anomaly was that anyone who saw her or was in her presence wanted to kill her. Sig could reshape reality into whatever she wanted. So the best guess was that Sig just really wanted another friend. It was good too, because when Lainey arrived she was battered and bruised from being too near a nuclear blast. The librarians had set aside some space for the two, and Sig fell into the role of caretaker for a while.
Hooray!
And it seemed that at least for the moment, normal people could be around Lainey and not be filled with murderous urges.
Yay!
They bonded over their love of books, something the library was in no short supply of. The librarians had also exchanged Lainey's and Sumerian's contaminated clothing. Sumerian and 682, the caretakers of the two girls, did not get along as well. But 682 was holding back his murderous urges at the moment, and so was Sumerian to some degree. He'd heard about and read about 682.
Yay.
He knew what a threat the unpredictable death machine was. He doubted internally that the monster's love for another anomaly, whose core ability made you want to kill her, was going to be enough to keep it in line. But like everyone else, he hoped.
Yeah?
Everything was strange. Saved by the old man, working with the hard-to-destroy reptile, worrying about the star-eyed witch child, hoping she was getting along with the girl that everyone was supposed to want to kill. Sometimes it was hard to keep this all straight in his mind. Kira North, the other Foundation staff member that the librarians were treating as key to this whole mess, was a comfort of sorts.
Imagine when it's this screwed up. It's this screwed up, Warpugs. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a group of anomalies which should never be in the same place at the same time, and you're just having to deal with it.
An adult human without any sort of anomalous abilities was a rare sight in the library. Of course, her constant companion being a bandaged old-timey policeman certainly kept things interesting, especially when it had leapt to his and Kira's defense when 682 first saw them both. Unsurprisingly, 682 was enraged to see not one, but two high-level SCP staff members on the other side of that portal. Lainey had to jump between them both to prevent what would have been no doubt a visually spectacular showdown. This man had a sword made of fire. When they were all called into the Serpent's haven at the center of the library, he'd felt strange. The Great Serpent had tapped a black branch with his tail, and suddenly they were in space.
Oh yay!
But also still in the room with the snake. A construct of some kind was hurtling towards the sun. He recognized it, but had never seen it in one piece, and that was when he learned about the malfunctioning destroyer. The thing about living after the end of the world is that sometimes you fail to account for all the other ends of the world you were worried about. The malfunctioning destroyer, once buried deep inside the red spot of Jupiter, was free and had dived face first into the sun, which frankly was the best of all possible endings for a Heatford. Then the Serpent continued from high atop its many-branched perch.
Events are concluding, but there is still much to be done. The cascade failure of reality is still in motion, and if but one of you should fail, then everyone fails.
No pressure. No pressure. Don't worry about it.
Your branch will be severed, and your reality will be condemned to the never was.
Sweet.
It looked directly at Sumerian.
You must assist the destroyer. It is missing a key component, stolen by your Foundation and incarnated in a human child.
Look, I'm sure you think I can help with that, but I don't know about anything stolen from SCP-0399.
She stands among you.
Oh.
Sig, SCP-239, stepped forward.
It's me, yes?
Indeed. And you will return the part of you that was stolen from the destroyer.
Kira spoke up and shook her head.
God. The Foundation really wasn't subtle with its numbering schemes.
A girl's voice came from the figure to SCP-239's side.
How can I help?
The Serpent uncoiled slightly.
You will become hope instead of hatred.
Oh?
SCP-053 shook her head.
I don't understand.
You will.
Oh.
SCP-682 gently prodded her with his snout.
Oh, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Who's a good boy, 682? You're a good boy.
I will keep you safe, lady.
The Serpent shifted its gaze to SCP-682.
You are needed elsewhere.
Oh, shit.
Where she goes, I go.
For her will to survive, you must assist another. That is final.
SCP-682 growled in protest. The snake responded by giving him a look of derision. Sumerian rolled his eyes.
Yay.
Okay. Explain to me my part in this.
You will pilot the ship that begins the ending. Your incarnation does not die today, nor tomorrow, nor for many years yet. You always find yourself on the right side of good fortune.
That's a good trait.
That luck will ensure the ship reaches its destination.
Good fortune. That's what you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Great. Super helpful.
Dick. He's just being Dick right now.
The best way to hear God laugh is to tell him your plans.
Yay!
Kira North sat on the edge of her bed. The librarians had built them all what could loosely be described as bedrooms to get some rest. Filled bookcases made suitable walls. The bed could have been comfier.
Yeah.
She was not ashamed to say she felt anxious, scared even, but also irritated. She had been irritated the entire time the conversation with the serpent had been ongoing. She felt unneeded. All this talk of spaceships and her role was to press buttons.
Hey,
Important
sometimes you gotta press buttons. Sometimes you just gotta press the button, man.
buttons, but still just buttons. Yellowstone was a flesh-infested hellhole, but it was critical to the serpent's plan. Sumerian's presence irked her too, but everything about Sumerian irked her just a little. She'd heard about his potentially luck-based anomaly during one of her visits to London. It had never been confirmed, but you only get to dodge a bullet at point-blank range so many times before someone starts thinking something strange is going on.
This is true.
He'd been nothing but arrogant in her interactions with him, though it was a blessing to have another human to speak with. So when Sumerian knocked on her door later that night, she wasn't sure she was going to answer. She eventually invited him in, and he sat down next to her in a deformed chair, obviously meant for an entity far larger than him. Kira sat back on her bed. Sumerian was irritated too. He was tired. It had been a rough few months, and in all honesty, he just wanted to relax and not give the end of the world another thought.
That's kind of difficult to do because the world's ending.
After a considerable silence, Sumerian was the first to speak.
So, you nuked the world.
Yeah. Seemed like the thing to do.
And that helped?
Blocked out the sun, so yeah, a little.
Sumerian decided now probably wasn't the time to inform her she had likely doomed what was left of humanity to radiation poisoning and starvation, and instead changed the subject.
Why is the serpent thing helping us? Why can't we just cross over into some other dimension where we both just died and live a normal life?
Because life sucks.
Remember that tree we saw? The one with the black branch? Well, apparently our dimension is a big branch where lots of smaller branches then branch off from.
Okay.
Each branch is its own reality. So, if ours collapses, so do theirs. Also, one of those other dimensions has a tea the serpent really likes.
And tea is vital. Tea is very vital. You don't have to ask why, just understand.
Seriously? That must be some pretty good tea. And what's this about severing the branch?
Well, that will be the cascade failure it warned us about. If the corruption spreads too far, it'll spread and infect the whole tree, and every single reality will end up like ours. The serpent told me it wouldn't let that happen. If we don't do what we are meant to do, it'll sever the branch.
And this, ship it kept talking about.
That one's news to me. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
They sat in silence for another few minutes before Sumerian stood up.
Well, I got a big day tomorrow, I guess. Using luck-based powers to ensure that a bunch of more important people don't die and all.
Yay!
Sure. Apparently me and the lizard are supposed to storm Yellowstone while you guys are doing that. And push some buttons, I guess.
Yay!
Yeah, be careful. That's where you guys picked me up. It's swarming with flesh monsters, but yeah, I put my money on you guys over the flesh monsters any day.
Yay.
Kira managed to smile. Sumerian smiled back and left, closing the door behind him. Kira lay down, closed her eyes, and slept. Dr. Linesman was doing morning checkups and system diagnostics aboard the life pod when a dark, blackened, rust-colored portal opened. 2 young women walked through the portal. They were followed by a thin man in a yellow suit. The portal closed almost as quickly as it opened. The yellow-suited man smirked.
You guys got a spaceship? Damn, I was in the wrong story.
Hey!
You can support me on Ko-Fi, and please leave a like and subscribe if you made it this far. It really helps the channel. Big up Sumerian for writing this one, my guest voices as always, all their links can be found below, and to my patrons and channel members. And special thanks to Viger, Sehex, and Andre Bachert.
So, I had always thought that once they got the destroyer up and running, that it was going to be doing something. I just didn't know it was going to be going, you know, this route. I love what they did with it. I love what they did with it. I'm so sad right now. I'm so sad right now because all of these various storylines are coming to a close, and I don't quite know how to feel about it. Guys, this series has been so fun to be a part of, to check out everything that I remember when I caught up to it this year, that I was still living in Indiana when I caught up to the series. God, what am I going to do now? I've caught up to when day breaks. Oh man, I remember when that got here. I was so happy because I've enjoyed this series so much. I wanted to be a part of this, and this is going to be up on the wall for some time now. Some time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series nearly as much as I did, and I hope that you'll come back next time and see part 2 of this series. Guys, I don't know the most about this. I don't. I've enjoyed it. I was introduced to it by this community, and it has been a marvelous experience the entire way through. And I don't look for it to stop anytime soon. I want to check out more things from Mr. Illustrated. I want to check out more things from the Exploring series. Warpugs, thank you so much for introducing me to such cool stuff, like flat out. I hope through this channel you guys have been introduced to some pretty cool stuff that has done things for your life. I know some of you guys said that you got an SCP because of the channel, 40K because of the channel, other things because of the channel, but you guys have gotten me into so much other stuff as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. All links are going to be in the description below. Join as a member of Patreon for early access, and I'll catch you all.